Welcome, Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi. Welcome our guest, Pittsburgh Penguins color analyst and the best in the business, Jay Caufield. Jay, thanks for joining us. Let's start off and let me ask you this, Jay. It seems as if this December is a lot like last December for the Pens, as Yogi Berra said, deja vu all over again. What is it about December? The Pens struggle, and then last year they had a great January. Can
Yeah.
we expect this again, or are there different circumstances here?
I think it's different circum. First of all, great to be with you, Ed. Nice to talk to you. I think it's different circumstances, just the new personnel, new GM, and then the personnel that came in were, especially Carlson, a big acquisition and trying to find their way, if you will. I think I think just seeing the power play starting to click like it is, and that's nothing more than, I mean, certainly they put their time in, but when you get pucks to the net, uh, things are going to start to happen. There'll be activity, and you're taking momentum. So I think that's been a big part of it. And on top of whatever else they discussed, they're the greatest players playing the game that are on that unit. And I think with that coming around, Ed, it'll be. I hope they have a great stretch in January. They need to have a really good run, coming up because of where they're at in the standings. So. Yep, I'm expecting. It's kind of wild how it is in December. December is usually not that kind of a. I remember as a player, December wasn't, you have activity. There's this, your Christmas coming up, you get into New Year, and usually January, February are like the dog days of winter for hockey players, not usually December. So kind of odd that they've been flat and not played good hockey, but at least they look like when they play a game like that the other night or last night, they're starting to turn it around. But I will say this: they played Minnesota, which isn't like an offensive juggernaut, right? So they have to manage. They work hard to manufacture their goals and their opportunities. But the Penguins did a really solid job. There weren't odd man breaks. They were smart. Their play without the puck was very good. So yeah, hopefully that's the lead to things to turn it around, Ed.
Yeah, they had great forechecking last night.
Yes.
Crosby with the power play goal, and
Yep.
Jay, had they blown that 3-0 lead, that might have been a dagger to their progress. I was really concerned about them holding on to that lead.
Yeah, when they did come back on it, Minnesota again, they're a hardworking team and they're going to try and work you below the dots and in the offensive zone and then with big bodies get to the net. And it's kind of how it started to play themselves out. They worked it low to high and got pucks to net and traffic in front, Ed. And it was the building went quiet there from a building that was into the game. You felt like the Penguins had full control, and it can slip away that quick against anybody. But it started to slip away last night. But I think that what was key about that win last night was not only we talk about the power play coming around, but it's the timing of it, right? So if they throughout the beginning part of this season, the first 30 games, they have had power play opportunities to tie a game or maybe take a lead or get a 2-goal lead and separate themselves. And that's when it wasn't working. So in fact, they lost momentum and then they'd end up losing these games and losing points. And that's why you could directly at times point at the power play. Well, last night it came up big with Crosby getting the game winner. And that's the kind of goal. That's what your power play. I mean, you can feel that like right now, Ed. You can kind of feel that now when the Penguins get on the power play, the other teams they know too. They made not only did they make a mistake, they're going to the box, but now they're putting on a unit that's getting hot. And when the Penguins get hot, that's going to drive them. It's going to put teams on their heels a little bit, and their aggressiveness goes away because they don't want to take another penalty. That's what's starting to rise. You get 6 goals in the last 4 games. That starts to turn around, and it runs across the league.
So they're 14, 13, and 3, and I'm going to run this by. You look at their scoring with Gensel with 29 points, Crosby now with, I think, 29, Malkin 22, Rust, who's hurt 20, Carlson 19. There's like 120 points there with these guys. Seems like if
Yep.
you just look at that, boy, this team ought to be maybe 6 or 7 games above 500.
Right. I think, well, look, their 5-on-5 play, Ed, has been outstanding, right? When you go through the roster, there's not a lot of minus players. Their 5-on-5 play has been outstanding. And as we talked about, or as has been the discussion over the last month, their power play has just put them in their special teams. They started to give away goals when they're on the power play or when they're on the penalty kill, and they weren't producing on the power play. When you have both units at the same time kind of failing, uh, that's going to decide games. And we've always said it. Special teams, who wins the special teams battle? Usually, whoever wins that battle is usually on the upside. So that's not the only reason why you win or lose games, but the fact of the matter is the power play rolled into the rest of their game in a lot of areas, and now that's hopefully they're getting over that. But for me, yeah, you would think when you hear those numbers. But Ed, to your point about the numbers of that, the problem was, and it's not only on this. I mean, Malkin's line went quiet when Russ was out. Raquel went out. Malkin's line went quiet. Even though Raquel wasn't on the board goal wise, he still was a player that they worked well with. Then Russ goes down. I think what happens is you weren't getting the depth scoring. You weren't now the Malkin line went quiet. Then you went to a case where the bottom six gets broken up because of injuries and young guys come up. So the production wasn't there, and that's why you end up being on the losing side of it because their goaltending has been very, very good.
Yeah, the goaltending has been good, except for that one anomaly, that 7-0 loss.
Yeah. Yep.
Toronto, which happens from time to time. But when you look at that power play drought that they had, 0 for 37,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to wrap your head around that with all this power that they have on offense.
No, I agree with that. And as I said, it's not only that they were that number. I felt a lot of times it was the position that they were in when they got the power play. It was to extend the lead or try and tie a game, or it's 3-3 and you get a power play late in the game and you can't produce on it. And in fact, you lose momentum and it goes the other way. So for me, that was the problem. So again, you need to right that ship, and it's something that we see coming out of it right now. But again, it was the timing of those events that when they had their chance, they couldn't put the opposition away.
Hey, Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, but at times it seems like the passing has been sloppy.
Yeah. That's fair, Ed. I mean, it's to be true. Even last night, like I will say this, like last night, what you noticed in the power play, those players have been world class their whole career, right? They come in, they're generational talents from what Crosby, Malcolm, generational talents, Chris Letang, I think generational talents save for the elite of the elite, right? Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, they have been generational talents, right? That's kind of what, and when you have Carlson and Letang and all these superstar players, they see something that other people don't see, or they're a little step ahead, and they find it, and they might try and feather a pass through. That is when it gets through, it's the greatest looking play. And I think what they're trying to get him, and I believe Mike Sullivan trying to get him just to, when they say simplify, they mean, hey, don't try and feather it through the box. Don't try and get it through skates or sticks, and just play it, move it around, get it from low to high, get it to the point, get the center point, and then blast, get pucks to the net. That's what I think they're talking about. So last night's one power play goal, the Gensel goal, which was a great goal. But even then, still, Malkin throws a pass between two players. And, it gets through, but on another night, maybe it's blocked and knocked down. So I think they're trying to avoid those kind of things, but I would still say you got to give those guys have carte blanche to do what they're able to do. You can't take away their creativity, and because only few have it that way. Other players don't have that creativity. They do. So sometimes you take the good with the bad, but a lot of times they got to be on the upside. And it's went so south to your numbers, Ed, that they finally had to sit there and go, okay, this is what we need to do. And you watch, they've had they're getting pucks to the net and then they're winning battles down low, or they're getting deflections, or they're just bearing it straight up. So doing a great job. It's turning itself around and they're feeling good about it.
Hey, Jay, before I let you go, what's been the biggest surprise for you so far this season?
Biggest surprise, I would have to say, I think it's more on the negative. I think, first of all, a great plus is the goaltending, right? Nedeljkovic has been very calm, very good. And Jari picked up his game after a stint where he said he needed to be better. So I think the goaltending, boom, that's one, because they got great backup in Nedeljkovic. But I think the surprise might be on the flip side of how the players haven't gelled together in 30 games. They just haven't found their stride, some of the new additions. And once they get out of that, they're going to be that much better. So that's what my surprise would be. It'd be on the one that some guys haven't found their footing with the Penguins and their system and working with other players. That's what I'm going to go with right now. Nobody else jumps off the board to me, except I will tell you right now, let's go one more thing, Ed. Let's go with Puustinen. He has looked good every night he's been in the game. And it's not that it's getting points keeps you in the lineup. I'm not saying that, but it's the way he's going about his game. So I'm going to say a late surprise. is going to be Pustin, because he's playing with the big boys and he's on the power play #1 unit, and he's doing a great job.
Jay, as always, great talking to you. Let's hope the Pens have things straightened out now. They've won 3 or 4. Looking forward to a big January. Thanks for coming on. Talk to you again. Have a Merry Christmas.
Same to you, Ed. Great to talk to you as well. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Thank you. I'll be right back with Ellen George.
You've reached Mega Fiber. No one is here to take your call. Leave a message.
Happy holidays. Thanks for calling Armstrong. This is Rachel.
At Armstrong, our 24/7 live support also includes holidays. Armstrong provides you with the customer service you deserve.
I'm back, joined to my right by the Swami, George Abraham, to my left, the Tiger, Albert Campman. Let's go to Spotlight Basketball, picking up steam. Top scorers for the boys, Ralphie Blundo, Newcastle, 32. Joe Roth, Elwood City, 29. He's averaging around 28, 30 points a game from what I can tell.
Yeah, 28 points and probably 17 rebounds.
Braylon Littlejohn of Butler, 28 and 24. Joey DePirick of North Allegheny, 27. Javen Hemer of Rochester, 26. Max Hurry of North Catholic, 26 and 20. Josh Book of Slippery Rock High School, 25. Slippery Rock will be at Butler this Friday night. Donovan Carney of Butler, 22. Ryan Check of Mars, 22. Peter Kramer of Hampton, 21. Jacob Callahan of Carn City, 20. Drake Fox of Riverside, 20. And Levi Prementine of Slippery Rock High School, 20. For the girls, Amelia McMichael of Butler, 30 and 22. Vita Vargo of Mars, 29. Megan Murray of Hampton, 23. Elena Rocco of North Catholic, 22 and 20. Kayla Jones of Elwood City, 22. Madison Zavasky of Pine Richland, 21. And Catherine Kelly of Montauk, 20. Elwood City girls have a good team this year.
Off to a great start.
I keep seeing that. And in girls wrestling, Butler senior Anna Melovich, she won the 115-pound weight class championship at the Ironman Wrestling Tournament at Walsh Jesuit in Ohio. This was the first ever Ironman for girls, and it was only by invite, by the way. And by the way, for Melovich, she has 51 wins in her career against boys. What's that tell you? She's going to go wrestle at some college. They're going to pick her up. She's a tough nut. And honors, 3 more Slippery Rock University football players join wide receiver Kyle Sheets on the Division II All-American team. Defensive back junior Eddie Faulkner the 4th. Junior safety Josh Stokes. And senior offensive tackle, hope I get his name right, Yuri Hirakawian.
No, you probably didn't, but
Yuri knows who he is. Yuri knows.
Is that Faulkner the Steelers' son?
Yes.
I thought so. Okay.
Yes. Right.
All
right, let's go to our stories of the week. Here we go. Hold your seats. The Steelers jumped to a 13-0 first half lead. I think they shocked themselves. And then they watched the Colts then respond with 30 unanswered points at the Oil Dome Stadium. And this was with the Colts. If ever you wanted to beat them, they're without 4 starters. Their right tackle, Michael Pittman Jr. got hurt. Jonathan Taylor didn't play. His backup got hurt, didn't play. And yet they shoved the ball down the Steelers' throats, rushing for 170 yards. And maybe it was just me. It didn't seem like the Steelers had much interest in playing this game.
Well, I would say because they jumped ahead of 13-0, they had interest. If it was 25-0 instantly, then I'd say, well, you're right. But when you jump ahead 13-0, you have interest. They just ain't any good. That's all.
And for the second week in a row, the quarterback, Gardner Minshew, he had a quarterback rating of 123. It's 2 quarterbacks in a row, 115.
Let me tell you about Minshew. I said it week 2. I told Al.
Yes, he did.
I said, first of all, he's much better. The kid from
Richardson.
Florida throws the ball to the other team, number
Yes.
1. Number 2, his running style, he'll never last a year. And the Colts don't know how. Now, I'm going to say this, not the injury. They're lucky Minshew's in there. That kid can't throw the ball like that.
No, he threw 3 touchdown passes.
Yeah, he's good.
The highest rating against the Steelers this year by
There
an
you
opponent
go.
quarterback.
There you
Trubisky was 68.9 rating, 2 interceptions, 1 TD. How about the Steelers? 24 rushes, 74 yards. Their last 2 games, 51 rushes for 144 yards. Not even 3 an attempt. Now the Colts, here is the real dagger in the Steelers. Sorry, they ran 13 straight run plays, and they just dominated that interior of their line, led by Quentin Nelson, 6'5", 330. The other guard 6'6", 325, and a center 6'6", 305. They just controlled the Steelers front 7.
That's a good point, Eddie. That if you have offensive line play in the pros, you have a good chance to win.
Yeah.
And Steelers have none. Colts have a nice offensive line.
Now, here, I don't understand why Tomlin passed up the 57-yard field goal. Not that that's a gimme, and that's a long, but it's indoor, and Boswell's kicked 55, 56-yarders at Acrisure Stadium. That was what the score was, 24-13.
He was out there, too. Did you see he was out there?
Yeah, I don't know why they
Yeah, Al
changed.
and I have a philosophy on that. We laugh. In today's game, like 40 years ago, you'd have punted them down there. We believe that in 3 plays they'll be back where you. And guess what? They were.
And
that was a mistake.
It's indoor.
You have to kick that.
They made a
You have to
mistake.
kick
That's
it.
all.
It's
Yeah,
indoor.
they made a mistake.
Okay, and then the other mistake.
Good point.
If I'm putting in Mason Rudolph, I'm putting him in at the beginning of the 4th quarter, not with 3 minutes to go in the game. Trubisky needed to be pulled at the beginning of the 4th quarter.
Well, you'll see Saturday because he's got to start.
Yeah, he's got to start, and Kazee, the safety, is suspended for the rest of the year.
Let me say, I'm not a Steelers fan, so I can be as objective as any.
Absolutely.
That was a terrible penalty. First of all, the quarterback, is Tom Brady's right. He let him right into that hit. I don't know what KZ can do short of having a parachute and jumping over.
But Brady was Brady. Brady wouldn't have thrown the ball if he saw the receiver in a precarious position.
That's what he's talking about.
But you can't ask Gardner to do the same thing.
No, but what is I'm saying, what's KZ supposed to do? I saw one. Let me say it, and I'll do it.
Yeah.
The other day, that big freight train for Dallas was running with the ball, 6'4", 240. He slid 1 second in front of a kid. The kid jumped over him. They called a penalty.
Now, I'm not against the penalty itself. The hit was brutal. I thought he broke his neck. However, I don't understand the 3-game suspension for the rest of the year.
No.
That I don't understand. I'm not sure. Did he have prior offenses during the season?
You know what? And that's without pay.
Is that without pay?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, here we go. The numbers are disconcerting here. The Steelers are 16-15 these last 2 years, 26, 27, and 1 now. Their last 54. F grades for everyone. I'll give a C+ to the warm-ups, but there's something missing here. Maybe it's just me. They lack focus. They seem disorganized at time. The intensity. Is this a tired, worn-down football team? I'm not sure, but there's something missing here. There's an energy level. Now, I'm no big fan of Ben Roethlisberger. He says they've lost their culture.
I don't listen to a word he says.
Yeah.
His ego's so out of control.
Yeah.
I just think their talent level stinks.
Is
And-
it just going down and down
and when their talent level stinks, and Tomlin's been there a long time, so they might be blocking them out. That combination, but they have the worst talent.
Here's what I'm saying. Okay,
Worst.
here's what I think. I think Tomlin needs a fresh look. I don't think he has the great coaches that he had at one time, but like LeBeau and Mike Munchak, the offensive line.
Yeah,
that's true.
And so I think it's good for both sides. He needs a fresh look somewhere. Just like it's time for Belichick to go and Popovich at San Antonio. He's been there since they put up peach baskets.
That's true.
It's time for him to go. I was just reading the other day. I didn't know this. You know that Wayne Huizenga forced Don Shula out. Now, he's forced out the winningest coach in NFL
But
history out.
how about Landry?
Landry fired.
Yeah.
And the worst, how about Casey Stengel? He took the Yankees in his 60s, 5 straight American League pennants, 2 world championships. Because they lost to the Cardinals in 64, they fired him. So I think it's a good, fresh look. And here's what I'm going to do. I love T.J. Watt. He's a great player, but I'm trading him for a number 1 pick. Highsmith, he hasn't lived up to his pay. 15 million between Highsmith and Fitzpatrick and Cam and Watt. They make 70 million. It's the highest pay. I'm gonna trade it. Thank Hayward. It's time for him to go.
Yeah,
And
see if
they need to
anybody
cut
takes
that gut.
the money out there. They have to. The other team has to pay them the money. It's not easy. It sounds easy for us, but it's not so easy to get rid of guys anymore.
I know it's not easy, but at some point, Noel held on the guys for too long.
Yeah.
You need to start all over. You need to get some fresh picks. They need a quarterback. I'm sorry, those 2 wide receivers, if I never see them play in a Steeler uniform again, it'd be
How
good
about
enough
look
for
at
me.
this? The guy intercepted the ball, and he just kind of stepped back and watched him.
How about when he's not involved, he takes 2 steps, Pickens off the line of scrimmage and stops.
Yeah, for any old timers like us, it's discouraging watching.
I wish
somebody
Tomlin
not
would
go
tell
full
him
speed.
during the game to go sit down. He's always chirping in Tomlin's ear.
What Singletary say? I want winners. He would have sent him in.
And he was fired instantly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Singletary was fired instantly.
He's
The
out.
players were.
Yeah,
run the show.
I'm just not.
No, that's true though. Albert hit it. It's Players League.
You know, I know you have to take a step back sometimes to go ahead, but they need to pile up on the draft choices. And Omar Khan, they called him the con man. He's disappeared. He's pulled a Houdini. Haven't heard a word from
It's always
him.
what happens.
Wonder
When
what's
somebody does
going-
something good,
Hey,
they
the
blow 'em
offensive.
up.
Why keep Broderick Jones at right tackle when he's your future left tackle? Why aren't you keeping him at left tackle to gain this experience?
How about
I just don't
How
understand
about
it.
Najee number 1? You just don't take a runner in the first round. It's been proven.
Well, his last 2 games, 20-some carries for 50-some yards.
There you go.
Well, Warren's better than him. There's not
Absolutely.
not even a question.
Absolutely. All right, let's look around the NFL Central. Baltimore 23, Jacksonville 7. Lamar and the Ravens defense, terrific. When you play the Ravens and Lamar, you better rotate about 7 defensive linemen. He just wears them out. They're chasing him all over the place.
Yeah, I'll make a statement now, and I'll come to regret it. I don't think Baltimore can ever win a championship with him playing. He throws the ball up for grabs. Against the rotten teams, it works. Against the great team, they're in the
Yes.
playoff. See a playoff winner, George? Here's what, because he plays better teams in the playoffs.
It's fine.
He's
And
what, 3-5 in the playoffs?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Remember Tennessee?
I don't
went
think
in
he can
there?
win the way he plays.
Remember Tennessee went in that year?
And I think he's fantastic.
I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
but I don't think he can win a championship. When you just run around and you throw the ball up in the ground, hope for and it works. I just don't think you can win with him.
Well, I agree. I think the window's closing. This is their 1 year. We'll see what they do. They're at Frisco
Well,
this
the good
week.
news is they don't have to go to Kansas City as it sits.
Yeah,
You don't want to go to Kansas City.
And the break for the Steelers, so that they have Cincy coming up, and then they go to Seattle, and then they have Baltimore. Baltimore may have it clinched up. Now, the only thing Baltimore might want to do if keep the Steelers out of the playoffs,
The
period.
Steelers aren't making any playoffs.
Yeah, I know.
They're
I'm
out.
just saying if
They're
it were to
out.
come down to
They're
that.
out. Yeah.
Hey, Cleveland down 17-7. They rallied behind Joe Flacco. He threw for 374 yards, 2 touchdowns to beat the Bears 20-17. Flacco got a new contract, $4.2 million. And what he's done in 3 games, close to 1,000 yards passing and 7 touchdowns. I know he had 3 picks in that game. 1 came off the chest of one of his
And that's what people never say that.
Yeah.
He almost lost the game for him. They came back and threw
Yeah.
the ball, and so many passes went through Bears' hands.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
But-
But he is playing good. He is playing good.
He's got that veteran experience. He's seen it
playing
all.
He's got gray
he's
in
not-
his beard. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just
He's
classic.
not going to overreact to an
No,
interception.
no.
It's not going to rattle
Good
him.
point.
Now, Cincy 8-5, they were down 17-3 to Minnesota and rallied behind Jake Browning, 29-42, 324 yards, and a 27-24 overtime win, spurred by that great play by T. Higgins that you didn't see that we saw was
he reached
unbelievable.
back.
It
I
was a
know.
freakish play.
I know.
And then the Vikings, 2 attempts to pick up 4 inches, and they didn't get it.
Yeah, it bothers me so bad that they can't do that anymore. I mean,
Quarterback sneak.
because just do it the right way.
Yeah, they want to do the push.
Yes.
Just
Brady
sneak.
did it without the push.
I know. He always made that.
So you look at the AFC Central, Baltimore 11-3. Next up at the 49ers, San Francisco favored by 5.5.
Oh, that's a good game.
You like the 49ers in this
I like the
game? They're
49ers.
really playing well. Cleveland 9-5. They're at the Texans. Houston's favored by 1.5.
That's one of the best wins last weekend.
Yes.
Houston coming
Without
back to
the
beat
QB.
Tennessee.
Yeah, without Stroud
Right.
playing. And then the Bengals 8-5. They're at the Steelers. 7-7. It's a pick game. How do you see
Oh, I
this?
take the Bengals. I wouldn't
Yeah.
take the Steelers against anybody.
Bengals.
All right, let's look at the power rankings. San Francisco at the top. They have the Ravens. Baltimore 11-3. They're number 2. They're at San Francisco. Miami number 3. What a blowout win against the Jets, 30-0. They have the Cowboys. That's a pick game.
That's a good game.
I'll go with Miami. Philadelphia 10-4. They lost to Seattle 20-17. And there's another backup quarterback and Drew Lock, and they're at their 8-yard line with what, a minute 20 to go, and I say this game's over. And he took him right down the field in that great catch in the end zone for the winning touchdown.
Well, I say that you said Higgins made a great catch.
Yeah.
And so he just threw the ball the play was the play to number 14.
Yeah.
I can understand why this.
Just threw the ball in the air and they catch it.
Okay, and you make that point. And he throws that long pass in the corners there. Why would it take that safety so long to get over there?
They were on the other side of the field looking at those other two receivers. Lockett.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't forget Lockett's on the other side.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So next up, Philly's at the Giants. They're favored by 10.5. I have Detroit at number 5, 10-4.
If they're home, they're dangerous.
Yeah, big win for them at home.
Boy.
They look
played
strong.
Minnesota twice.
Yeah,
they
played
do.
Minnesota. They're favored by 3. I have Dallas drop them to number 6. I kind of wonder what happens to them sometimes defensively. They look so good one week and so bad the next.
They moved back into first place by that Eagles loss, and they're
Right.
7-0 at home.
Okay,
If you can run the ball,
but they're at Miami
you
this
can beat
week.
Dallas. If you can run the ball, you can beat Dallas. You have to be able to run the ball.
Kansas City at number 7, 9-5. Next up, they play the Raiders. I'm just still there's something missing with them.
Yeah, they don't have receivers. They used to have some
Yeah.
great receivers to throw the ball to.
Cleveland at number 8. They're at Houston. Number 9, back in there again. We thought they're dead. They're up the down staircase. Buffalo 8-6. Impressive win over
I
the
never
Cowboys.
thought they were dead. Ever did I think Buffalo was dead?
they're at the Chargers, and the Bills favored by 10. And number 10, I have Cincy in there at 8-6. The Chargers fire Brandon Staley and the GM after a 63-21 loss to the Raiders, who the week before lost 3-0 to Minnesota.
4 days before, not even a week. 4 days.
How does that
No,
happen?
I
A
can't.
3-0 game.
No.
That
can't.
happened.
Not in today's world.
Hey, finally to finish up here, when you get the Pitt names, Cade Bell out of Western Carolina as their new offensive coordinator. He was the offensive coordinator for his father, Kerwin Bell, who played at Florida, I believe.
Yes, he did.
And he runs an up-tempo offense. We'll see what will happen. It'll be interesting.
Well, I think it has to do with the Steelers, what you said about the Steelers.
Yeah.
He had to go out and do something like that.
Yeah.
Your offense is so bad, it's saying, listen, we're gonna change the tempo here. We're gonna play differently.
Hey, guys, the transfer portal is exploding. Players are crossing the country, running into one another at airports. And now you have Kyle McCord, the Ohio State quarterback, going to Syracuse. So many other players dropping out of the bowl games. Florida State now, their top runner is not playing in the bowl game against Georgia. It's just a mess. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse for the mid-level teams.
Yeah, it's so
It's going to get
They're
worse.
killing the little bulls.
They're killing the little bowls
Yep.
and hurting them. And NIL, a lot of teams are going to be left outside looking in.
Absolutely.
Hey, that's it for us. We're out of time. From us here, the Coaches Roundtable, to all of you, Merry Christmas
Merry
and Happy
Christmas.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Armstrong has been a part of Butler County for over 60 years. We've run hundreds of miles of high-speed fiber, and we're not stopping. Your internet, television, and telephone connectivity is backed by a team of local technicians who are backed by their local office, who is backed by our 24/7 network operations team, as well as our 24/7 customer service center. Can the other guys say that? We didn't think so. Armstrong. Unmatched employees, unmatched technology, unmatched fiber network.